Good morning. Hi everybody. My name is Karen Kong and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Canada, and welcome to my weekly This or That Thursday. So every week I try to post 2 cards in my group and I ask my crafting community to vote on a card for me to make live on Thursday morning at 9 Eastern, and here we are today. We're making this card today. This is the card you guys chose. It's been ages since I've been on. It's been like, I think a month, because we had dance competitions, and then last week my daughter was sick, and so yeah, it's been ages. I feel like it's been a long time since I've been on live, but I did figure out how to make a reel, so that was fun. So if you're joining me live, I would love it if you say hi and keep me company while I craft. I'm just going to get my computer set up so I can see your comments while I have my phone mounted to display my desktop. So just give me a second. Hi Sandra, thanks for joining me. It's nice to be live again. Okay. All right, I have my computer set up. Great. All right, so I'm just going to move my camera to the mount. So close your eyes while everything starts moving, okay? Just a moment. Here we go. Does that look okay? I think that looks okay. All right, so yes, so this week we're making a pop-out window card. So it opens like this. It's actually really simple to make, and it looks really cool, I think. So, and I'm using the Seaside Bay suite and the Seashells embossing folder, which was, I think it's a clearance item. I don't think it's a, it was a last chance. It was a clearance item. So I picked that up because I thought it would go well with the Seaside Bay. So we're going to be creating with that today. So let me get started. I'm going to move all this stuff to the side, make a little bit of room, because the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the card base, and this is a matting layer that I put on top, and all the little pieces that we need for this. So I have a little seashell and a little bit of seagrass behind there, and then there's 2 circle die cuts here and the inside matting layer. So let's cut all that out first, and then we'll do some stamping after that, okay? So tell me how your week is going. It's been really, really rainy here in Ottawa. So much so that our chimney started leaking. We're leaking water somewhere, and hopefully the roofing guy who stopped by has fixed it. I don't know. He didn't exactly know where the leak was coming from, but cross our fingers and hope that that fixed it. Okay, so I've got my paper trimmer out. I need Night of Navy cardstock, and I'm just going to cut it in half. So I'm going to cut it right down the middle at 5.5 inches. So I'm just going to measure it out on the trimmer right here. And we'll cut with the cutting blade. Okay. You know what, Sandra? I think that you know that the little, I don't know what it was, like all these little fun facts that I posted last night from Sarah Douglas. She said that Starry Sky was actually their all-time best-selling color, and I was quite surprised. It's pretty new. But yes, Night of Navy is, you know, nice, but Starry Sky has apparently overtaken it, I think. Okay, so I'm scoring it with the other blade at 4 1/4. And I need one more piece that's going to lie right on top of here. So I'm just going to take the other half and cut it in half. So I'm just going to cut it at 4 1/4. Okay, and I'm also going to cut a piece of white, which is going to go inside. Yeah, it was surprising. I was really surprised that Starry Sky had come out as a #1 because, like I said, it just came out like last year. Okay, so for the white piece inside, it is, let me just double check, 5 1/4 by 6, I believe. Yeah, Night of Navy is like kind of like a staple kind of neutral color, I think, kind of like crumb cake and white. Yeah, so the inside piece is 5 1/4 by 6, and I scored at 4 inches. And I will post all the measurements in the video description afterwards, so don't worry about writing it all down. I will post it. So this one, let's see, I'm just trying to think of what's the best way to cut this. I think this is almost 5 this is 5 3/4. So I'm going to cut it down to 5. Actually, I need 6 inches this way, so I'm going to cut it this way first. And then I need to cut it to 5 1/4. Then I need to score along the long edge at 4 inches. Okay. There we go. All right, so I have my Night of Navy pieces cut out. My white pieces are cut out. I think I'm ready to do some die cutting. So I'm going to die cut the circles, and I'll emboss this layer here. Okay, so I need my cut and emboss machine. And I need the full-size one, because this is a full-size embossing folder. The Seashells is a full-size embossing folder. So we'll start with the circles first. So here's it's the layering circles that I'm using. And let me find my little piece of paper. Here we go. So it's Sahara Sand. Yeah, Starry Sky, I'm thinking, is brighter than the Night of Navy. It's not quite as deep. And I think it's maybe even a slightly different shade. Okay, you go get that coffee. I won't stop you. Okay, so Sahara Sand, this is white. Okay, and let's run that through. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll do the grass at the same time too. So I cut the grass actually out of a piece of the By the Bay DSP, which is now retired, but I picked up a couple packs because it's really pretty and I need it for my class that's coming up. So I decided, instead of cutting a straight blue or green piece, which I thought would be too heavy looking for the for my card, I wanted to cut it out of the DSP because you see this one has like variations, so it looks really good. Okay, so I just need to grab the grass die. I just have room for one more, which is perfect. And I actually have one more little mini seashell left over from my previous die cutting, so I don't need to cut that this time. So let's just do these ones. Okay. All right. There's one. There's the second one. I'll put that to the side here. And there's my grass. See? I think that looks cool. And let's not throw out the die by accident. Okay. Alright, so there's all my die cut pieces on the side. And I need to also die cut this hole here, okay? So the way I did it is that I put the matting pieces together. So the two pieces of navy go together. And I'm going to line it up with the edge and the middle. And I think it's exactly the same. Yeah, that worked out. Sometimes the paper is just like a smidgen longer than 11 inches or 8.5 inches. And I find that when I line it up, it doesn't fit exactly. exactly. Anyway, so these ones do line up exactly. I'm not going to glue it on first. And the mistake I made earlier when I was making the card first was that I actually embossed and then I cut, which actually what happens is when it goes through the second time, it just flattened my embossing. So that did not work out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I layered the matting piece already here, and I just lined it up, and I'm going to put my circle die here. And I think what I'm going to do, it should be okay. But I'm just going to use a Post-it note I have handy here and just stick it on top so it doesn't move. And I'm going to put it through my cut and emboss machine, and it will cut through the 2 layers. And what I'm going to do is actually run it through twice just to make sure that it cut all the way through. Okay, I'm coming back. Okay, let's just see if that cut. I think it did. It's the static is holding it to the top layer. Okay, so that's 1, that's 2. Yep, no problem. Okay. So now that I've cut the window out, I'm going to emboss this layer. So I'm using the Seashells embossing folder. It's a 3D embossing folder, so it's thicker than the average embossing folder. Embossing folder, can I speak? So I have to take out one of the plates, and if you've never used a cut and emboss machine before, you don't have to memorize how the plates go, but all the instructions are here as to what you need, so you never have to worry about forgetting what the layers are supposed to be. So this one, I just need the bottom plate and there's one top plate here, number 4, which is extra thick. And I will run it through. Okay. Does not look good. Look at that. Okay, so now the embossing is done. And I'm going to put this away because I don't think I need it anymore. Let me just get this out of the way. Okay. So now this will go right on top. And I'm just going to fold and burnish my card base before I do that. Okay, so it's going to fit right on top. So I'm going to put some glue. Because the glue will give me some wiggle room if I put it down in not exactly the right spot. I'm finding I'm using glue way more often now than I am the Stamp and Seal. Just because you know, when you put it down, like sometimes your finger slips and you put it in just a little bit off. So this gives me time to like kind of push it over a little bit if it's not in the right spot. Okay. So I'm just lining up the windows, and that looks pretty good. There. All right, so the card base is done now. I'll just let that dry, and we'll do the stamping. Okay, so on the front, I'm just going to stamp the circle first. Okay, so I used the Thank You for Everything, which is mounted already on here, and Night of Navy. Look at me, I'm doing freehand stamping. I don't usually do freehand because I I'm always afraid with sentiment stamps that I roll it and then I make it too fat on one side or whatever. Some people are just so good at, okay, that turned out well. Good. All right. And then we'll stamp a seashell. So I use like the longer seashell here. I'm just going to take the one I have on here right now. I'm going to take it off and we'll save it for later. And we'll get the other one out. Have I been, Sandra's asked me, have I been practicing? Yeah, I've been doing a little bit more stamping without the Stamparatus since it's no longer available. But I'm not the best. I just find that the Stamparatus prevents me from rolling my stamp too much, and I have a tendency to want to press too hard, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so if you haven't seen me do this before, I know that my my ink pad is very wet. This one's very juicy. So what happens is if I stamp with it really juicy, I get, the stamp becomes too wet and then you don't get clear lines. So when I find that's happening, I just take, like this is an old credit card, and you just need a straight edge. Some people have used their bone folder, but I don't want to stain my bone folder, and I don't have to keep cleaning it off, but so I just use an old credit card. You just need a straight edge, and I'm just going to push all the ink to one side, so then I don't get excessive ink on my stamp when I go to stamp. Okay, so I just brush it to one side. So I'm just cleaning off the edge of the credit card before I ink something else by accident. Okay, and then I'll stamp. So I think that looks a bit right. That's not bad. Okay, and I think that's all I need that one right now. And I'm going to put the circle onto the Sahara Sand backing before I attach these, because I know that my seagrass is going to stick out a little bit, so I don't want to bend it by accident when I'm handling this piece. So I'm going to stick it on first before I have to handle it, the seagrass. Oh, I'm just going to grab my tweezers before I do this. I like having tweezers to help me place things, because then my fingers don't get in my way. Okay, so I'm just going to center it, place it. That looks pretty good. All right, so now that that's down, I'm just going to put the seagrass on and the pearl, and sorry, the seashell. So just let me put a little bit of glue on this. I'm just going to put a few dots of glue on the bottom, and I'm not going to bother trying to glue down every strand of seagrass. There. And it's just going to go about here. Whoops. I don't want it to cover up the words too much. And then, same thing with the little shell. Okay, and the last thing I put on here was a pearl, and I just used the basic pearl jewels, which are also, I think, now retired. You could use the iridescent pearls. Those are also a good option for this, but I do like just the plain pearl is fine. Let's see, just stick that in our seashell. Okay, so now, okay, so that's assembled. Let's put the matting piece in. Here is the piece that I scored. Let's fold it, okay? Burnish the fold. And actually we have some stamping to do on here. So I put like a little shell in the bottom corner here and some shells at the very bottom of the inside. So let's do that. Okay, let's get our Sahara Sand out again. And I'm going to do the same thing again because the ink tends to move back. So I'm just going to brush it over again. Okay. Alright, so I need to get this one off and we'll get the little guy out. Whoops, wrong way. I think I need another coffee too, Sandra. Alright, so I'm going to put this one right here in the corner. Okay, and let's get the other stamp, which I already have mounted, this one. Let's open this up. I don't know where that blue came from. Hopefully I don't get it on my card. Okay, let's just put this here. Looks good. Okay, so now we can put it inside our card base. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to glue the back of this section to this, and I'm going to have it centered. Hang on a sec. How did I do this? Yeah, it's centered. Okay. Oh yes, the pebbles. I was thinking about that too. Yes, great idea. And I haven't made a card with them yet, like the combination of the seashells with the pebbles, but I definitely have that on my mind as to how I can work that in, because I do love my pebbles. Okay, so I'm just going to center this. Okay, so now we put this circle piece in here, and all I have to do is I'm going to put through the window, I'm going to put the glue here so I know exactly where it goes, and then I'll just place it right on top. Sandra, did you mean that the pebbles are actually still on clearance? I didn't know that they were still in the clearance section. I do have enough. I don't need more. I'm just talking to myself. Okay, so let's grab this, and I'm just going to plop it right in the center because that's how I'm going to line it up. Pretty easy, right? Okay, so let's just give that a second. Good. So that's it. I think this is like the fastest I've made a card. It's like under a half hour. Look at this. And it's a fun fold too. Look at that. Really easy. Wasn't that easy? I can't believe I'm done already. Like, I feel like I'm like missing something. Oh, those pebbles still are available. Cool. I don't need any more. Yeah, so this was an easy card. I can't believe I'm done so fast, but you can see that you can make this with any kind of set. Like I got the idea originally from another demonstrator. She used DSP here instead of embossing, but it was the same idea in the center. But I mean, you can do this for all sorts of card ideas for other sets, and make your own pop-out window card. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm just flabbergasted I'm finishing so early today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again next week for another card. Happy stamping and have a great weekend. See you later, everybody.